Had the pleasure last evening of watching the movie The Octopus Teacher. So I don't know if anyone has seen it yet, but it's on Netflix and it's a beautiful documentary about a man and who free dives and develops a relationship with this octopus, this one female octopus and he goes every single day to dive and experience this under the sea beautiful forest, a kelp forest where this octopus lives. And I've been thinking a lot about it, obviously, and there's so many remarkable things that I've been thinking about. First, this man was able to be without a wetsuit in 48-degree water for extended periods of time, and it made me think a lot about the adaptability of the human body and the human mind. How we are really able to adapt to just anything that comes our way. So I know this year has been challenging for a lot of us, most all of us, on some level. And I just want you to marvel at how human beings can be as adaptable as any other being on the planet if we give ourselves the capacity to do so. So one of the things that I really enjoyed learning about with an octopus was just marveling at a few things. One, her ability to change her the way she looked underwater, to adapt to her environment so that she would stay camouflaged. And also the fact that a creature with no bones can have such amazing, not only, I have to sneeze, no, I don't. Sorry. Not only amazing agility that, having no bones would obviously give you, but amazing structure and stability as well. That we as humans, adapt to rely on our bones for a lot of that. So it made me think also about that her brain was in her body and not just like the brain in the head. And of course that's something in our yoga practice that we're constantly trying to evolve, is this sense of getting out of the brain as just the structure inside of our head that controls everything, to really understanding the feeling body, the intuitive body as a sense organ in and of itself that's part of our intelligence. And it's not the same as the computing brain in our head, but we have deep intelligence in the wisdom of our body. And other cultures know this. There's words like in Japanese cultures, we say, oh, he's hot-headed, someone who has a lot of fire and maybe angers easily. In Japanese culture, they say, I think the expression is, they have a rising belly. And so there's just this sense of intelligence being somewhere besides our brain. There's this book that I've been slowly reading by Philip Shepard called Radical Wholeness. And I was looking through it this morning, and he talks a lot about using the wisdom of the body and how we can cultivate the experience of our intuition and our intelligence, not just being the thought patterns, but the mind body woven together, that we really aren't separate. And that this is a skill that so many beings on the planet have, and that humans often don't rely on. We don't cultivate this because our brain intelligence is so powerful. We can under rely on the other levels of intelligence that we have. And so, he talked about the head is where you consciously think, but your pelvic floor and your belly is where you consciously be. And the difference between being and thinking, and how there's wisdom in being, not just in thinking. So he has this little chart that I just wanted to read to you. It's the brain in the belly versus the brain in the head. So the brain in the belly is the realm of conscious being. The brain in the head is the realm of conscious thinking. In the belly, we feel the world intimately, and in the brain, we know it from a distance. In the belly, we're oriented to being, and in the brain, we're oriented to doing. Now, this is not to say that one's more important or more valuable than the other. Our brain and our belly are both valuable. Our belly thinks in sensations. Our brain thinks in abstractions. Our belly attunes to relationships, and our brain gathers perspectives. Our belly is devoted to integration, and our brain is devoted to analysis. Our belly lives in companionship, and our brain lives in solitude. Our belly attunes to life, and our brain grasps mechanics. Our belly rests in harmony, and our brain establishes order. Our bellies feel organic flow, and our brains organize linear systems. Our belly is attentive to background, and our brain is attentive to foreground. Our belly has an affinity for the earth, and our brain has an affinity for the sky. Our belly rests in the present, and our brain activates toward the future. So, once again, this is not one is better than the other, but think if we use both of our intelligences, our intuitive belly intelligence and our analytical mind thinking intelligence, how adaptable we could be if we really relied on both of these systems of intelligence that we have. So, for you, which is more developed? Is your brain intelligence more developed, or is your belly intelligence more developed? Do you have access to both? Would you like to have access to more of one or the other? Can you find that they can work in harmony, that the two forms of intelligence that we have can actually potentiate each other and support our development? So go ahead and sit up straight and tall and take a moment to drop in. First, find the breath. We really can't integrate much without our breathing. So let's find the breathing body. Let your belly relax enough to receive the movement of the diaphragm. See if you can notice any tension pockets, maybe your shoulders or your face, tension along your skull, maybe your hands or your feet, whatever is guarding, gripping, tensing. See if you can melt. And let this pattern of softness soften the breath even more. Let's place our hands, two hands, one on your belly and one low on one, a little higher, one a little lower, maybe all the way down close to your pubic bone. And just see what you can feel with your hands, what you can feel on the inside, letting your body become a breathing being instead of a thinking mind. How do your senses associate with your belly? Can you relax a bit more? Do you have a relationship with trusting the sensate body in the belly and pelvis? Is there information that you receive from these places that are valuable to you? How can we cultivate a little bit more? If you tend to lean into the thinking mind, how can we cultivate a little bit more of the feeling belly? So, first is to befriend. If you have a weird relationship with your belly, if you suck it in and ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist or try to trap it in belts and tight things, can you first allow a little freedom, acceptance? You can move your hands whenever you want. Can you feel the breath traveling down to the pelvic bowl, all the way to the pelvic floor? And there's no manipulation that needs to be had, just sense. Can you imagine that the intelligence, the brain in your belly and pelvis is connected to your emotional states, the wisdom of your emotional states? And then it's also connected to your senses, your other senses. So can you feel into your skin that wraps your whole body and relax, rest a bit? What are you feeling in your skin? Are you feeling temperature? Are you feeling texture? Where are you feeling? Where's the first spot that, when you think skin feeling, what are you feeling? Can you rest now into the eyes? And even though your eyes may be closed, can you soften the sense of vision and let the nerves rest, the muscles rest? How about your jaw, your tongue, and the way you perceive through taste? What are you feeling inside your mouth? And how about your nose? Is your breath easy to move through your nose? Can you feel open chambers in your sinuses? And how about the sounds that you hear, my voice, other sounds in your home? Can we feel that there's this deep connection between what we sense and what we feel and what we think? And that the balance of using all three of these capacities to understand, perceive, know can work in harmony, that we don't have to just rely on the computations of judgment in our head. Past meant this, so this must be the judgment of what's happening now. The brain's limited, the senses are limited, even the belly is limited, but together they perceive a lot. So let's take a deep breath now and enjoy the harmony of the ways we can perceive and find awareness. Ground yourself, feel the spine expand. Place your hands together at your heart. Melt into the openness of the heart space. Allow the vulnerability of an open sensation so the heart and whatever other emotional states arise somewhere in your body, can you open to the vulnerability of it and receive what's there? Bow into an intention. What is it that you are cultivating and why? All right, let's release the hands and come to lie down on our back. So as you come onto your back, notice the change of perception, versus when we're standing or sitting. A supine posture has its own capacity to feel. Can you feel the yielding grounding relationship you have with the earth? We practice yielding all the time in our yoga practice. And this is a skill that we're cultivating that gives us heightened perception. So feel your limbs, your joints open up and soften. Give yourself over to the ease of your breath. And feel your belly become free here. Is there anything you block? When we come into thinking or emotional states that are difficult, do you block the flow of what you're receiving from the wisdom of your inner body? Is it scary to listen to the inner body ever? Is it vulnerable? Do you trust? All right, let's stretch our arms overhead and feel the life in you. Just wake up, stretch your feet, wiggle your toes, and then bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a hug. Feel free to rock, move, circle, anything that feels good for your body. Can you pay attention to the sensations of the body to give you feedback? Let's open ourselves up to a starfish. So lay your legs out a little wider, your arms out a little wider, and imagine, just like a sea star, that your brain is in the center of your belly instead of up in your head. And just imagine that movement from the center out to your limbs, and then plugging back in a little bit, condensing from the edges back to the center. Feel your breath move from center outward to crown, tail, fingers, toes, and then back home to center again. Become a pulse of this rhythm on your breath. Learn to trust the belly. So what's there that's guarded? What can you free up? That we have such a unusual relationship sometimes to trusting our instincts. We're not taught very well how to maintain this through our lives. So see if you can give credence to what you're sensing from the center. The more you trust and listen to your intuitive sensing, the more it grows. It's like any muscle in your body. All right, let's turn this into actual movement now. Spread out your limbs, starfish open, squeeze everything you can squeeze. So find every pocket of muscle that you have access to in your body and squeeze it, even if it makes you get a cramp. Okay, you can adjust. And then relax. Bring your knees into your chest, pick up your head, and squeeze again. Push all your air out, squeeze your face, squeeze your core, your shoulders, your feet, your hands. And then open up a little bit more gently, no more squeezing. Expand, stretch your breath out to your limbs. Exhale, draw in. One more time. Feel that your brain is in your belly. Expand from that center. You're looking outward, perceiving the world through your core instead of through your eyes. One more time. Imagine your vision is in your belly. Imagine you're hearing. All of our senses are really close to our actual brain. Imagine that they're closer to your belly. All right, let's go ahead and roll over onto your side and come up onto your hands and your knees. All right, let's move through some cat-cows, arching and rounding the spine, taking time to notice what's here, what's easily mobile in your body today. Where are you a little tense? Can you feel that your vertebrae have so much mobility to them? Even if you're restricted, even if there's problem spots that you're working with, can you feel that you have so much capacity to move? To breathe and move, to feel and move, to yield and move. Swirl this pose around any which way. Imagine you don't have bones for a moment. How swirly could you get? How mobile could you get if you didn't have the restriction of your bony structure? And now let's be thankful for our bony structure. Curl your toes under and reach up to dog pose and feel the weight travel through your bones. Yield into the earth through your bones, rebound from the earth through your bones, up into your spine. So we do have a skeleton, so let's feel it. Can you feel the grounded on the inside? Can you feel the bones? Can you feel the weight of the bones, the way they can transmit force, the way they give structure to our body, stability to our body, and even mobility to our body in our joints? See what it feels like to yield. So relax your face. Let your breath come. Feel your full exhales. Let your belly dissolve. Let your brain dissolve in your skull. Rest your skull bones. See if you can melt a little bit and let the actual physical brain rest. Feel your senses rest. Let your eyes soften, your inner ears soften, your tongue soften, your skin soften, the nose soften. Let your belly soften. Feel the structure coming from the weight of your bones. Rooted to the earth, rise up through the hips. And then let's walk your feet forward. Come into Uttanasana, fold in half. Any kind of posture that feels good. You can bend your knees as much as you want. Lift the sit bones and widen them. Let the spine rest down. Halfway lift, get the spine to grow a little bit longer. Your legs maybe a little bit straighter. Feel the arches now. So imagine you have braids inside your feet. Feel into the earth and lift up through your hips. Find the rebound of the yielding, find the connection from the arches to the groins. Feel the extension through your spine. As you move into space and get long in legs and spine, try not to lose the softness of knees and the yielding feet. How is your breath? All right, let's melt down again. Push off your feet. Rise up, bringing the arms to the sky. Lean back a little bit if it feels good. Open to some cactus arms, chest broad. Exhale and round in, tuck chin toward chest. One more time, opening up your chest. Exhale, rounding. So like a little cat-cow standing here. One more time, spread your wings and then stretch your arms out. Open the chest, lean back a little bit. Find your breathing and then release your arms. Shrug your shoulders, shake out your hands. Feel now as you press your palms out, like you're pressing two walls away, that your nerves live all the way through your body, not just up in your skull. Okay, so feel the nerves travel down through your hands, spread out your hands, turn the eyes of the elbows up toward the sky, spread out through your collarbones. And then lift one ear up. Relax, lift the other ear up. And relax. Shake out your arms again. Take a deep breath. Arms up. Circle wide. Bend forward. Bend your knees. Relax your skull. Melt your head. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and release back down. Step your left foot back. The right foot comes forward, lunging. Open up the hip flexors. See what it feels like to find that sense of space and openness. Can you feel the connection of navel stretching to your crown, navel stretching to your back foot, broadening through your torso? And let's feel a little nerve energy in our legs. So straighten up your legs a little bit, tuck your chin toward your chest, and see if you can feel any nerves zing down your leg. It's a little different feeling than just a muscle stretch. All right, bend your knee again, rise up. Now, remember, you can have any placement in your body that you want. So the legs can be wider apart, your knee can be on the floor, your arms can be in space, anywhere you want them to be. Let go of the attachment of a pose having a certain shape, and instead come into the feeling body. How do you let your belly expand and contract here? So a little core support on the exhale, but there's freedom. There is a letting go, giving yourself over to the openness of your chest, your belly, your pelvis. Exhale and release your hands down. Step back to dog pose. Extend through your spine. Deep breath, yielding again. Let's bring the other foot forward, finding a lunge. Okay, bend your knee, those hip flexors of the back leg, open up, shoulders are away from the ears, the crown, the tail, and the back foot move in length. Root your front foot into the ground to give strength and stability. When you're ready, straighten the front leg a little bit. Just sense into what's available here without rounding the back. Still sit bones lift high and wide, root the big toe, reach the femoral bone back into the hip. Do you feel a nerve sensation or no? And then come back into the legs, bend your knee, feel the yielding of both feet, and rise up to your version of crescent lunge here. Open yourself up, so feel the hip flexor extend. What feels nice in your body here? Where are you open and free? All right, and then as you're ready, find your way back down to the ground and come to a plank. So as we find a posture that's filled with a lot of strength, when we're kind of hugging in like this, it's a very stable pose. And because of that, we tend to get guarded and gripped. Maybe our chest flexes and we get, a little locked in our breath. See what you can do to soften the diaphragm, let it move, to soften the knees, to feel stability by yielding and integrating instead of locking. Okay, put your knees down and come to the floor. Put your hands underneath your forehead for a moment. Put your feet down. Feel your belly. So it's a very protective thing to have our belly on the ground. Can you feel the way your diaphragm moves? And if you do have, difficulty feeling vulnerable in your core, which is necessary for being able to have a deep wisdom of the belly brain, we have to be vulnerable. We have to trust a bit in order to risk that maybe what our belly is telling us has some truth. It's also a place where we often ignore if painful things arise in our mind. Our bodies will just often shut down, okay, and not let feeling occur. So welcome feeling in, let things move. Okay? Take your hands back toward your ribs. Inhale, cobra pose, chest opens and broadens, and release and melt back down to the ground. Root your legs, feel your connection to the earth. Inhale, rise up again. Chest is spread open. Exhale and melt back down. Come back up onto all fours. Swirl around through your spine. Notice the breath and stretch back to child's pose. Have some deep hip flexion if it's comfortable for you to do so. Walk the hands out in front of you if it's comfortable. Take a breath into the back of your body. So remember, when we are feeling the belly brain, we often think of it as the center front of our body. Can you feel inside? So what might happen if you allow the breath to touch the back ribs, to touch the back of the body, so that you feel a sense of 360 awareness in your torso, your center, instead of just like a pinpoint at your belly button. Okay, so feel the moving center. Walk the hands over to one side or the other and feel the ribs stretch. When we are feeling for the inside sensations of the body, this sense of interoception, breathing and feeling on the inside, this is a great opportunity to feel your lungs. Touch your lungs. Let them touch up against the inner rib cage as you inhale. Let them draw away from the inner rib cage as you exhale. Let's come walking our hands back to center, over to the other side. And once again, can you relax your neck? Can you take the brain into surrender? Let the brain rest in the skull bones. The forehead is like a hammock to support the soft brain, and let the brain in your belly take over. What do your lungs feel like as they touch the ribs? Come back to center. Come up onto all fours and find your way back to dog pose. Extending through your body, breathing into the yielding. I think yielding is a really important gateway to understand this inner sensing. It's a great tool for us to access and cultivate. So what are you feeling in the earth, and how can you rebound through your bones? Use the structure that you have. We're not an octopus. We do have bones. So that is part of our intelligence. So can you feel where our bones support us? Walk your feet forward, come into Uttanasana, bend your knees and rise on up. If you're dizzy, pause for a moment, tuck in your chin, squeeze to the midline. If you need a block for chair pose, grab a block for chair pose between your thighs. If your knee is a little vulnerable, it's a great way to do chair pose. Squat down with your legs, start to feel the grounding. So give yourself a little over into the earth, spread out the bones of your feet, lift your arms if you're able up over your head for a classic chair pose. If your shoulders don't like that, bring them out to the sides. See if you can, or even down if your shoulders can't come out to the side. So bring yourself into a little bit of work. Your thighs are starting to pump some blood. Can you feel the grounding of that, the work of that? Let your belly be soft on your inhale and a little bit stable on your exhale. Draw the knees back into the hips. Find the work of the back body here. Notice if your neck and shoulders want to take all the tension. Melt your skull, melt the eyes, melt the jaw. And rise back up. Open through your heart, spread open your wings again. And then release your arms down. We're going to cross one arm over this. So the right arm's going to go over the left arm, drop the shoulders, lift your chest. Spread open the collarbones a bit, lift the elbows a little bit away from your chest as you lift them a little bit toward the sky, and squat down back into a chair. Let your peripheral vision take over. So gaze at your forearms. Let the softness of your peripheral vision give you some new information. If you're always focused, if you're pinpointed in your attention with your vision, soften. Let the peripheral vision take its time. Femur bones back. Find your breath. Ground into your feet. What happens when you feel your feet? Is there a different integration in the body? And then rise up, arms to the sky. One more time, chair pose. Flip your arms. So the other arm's on top, shoulders down, elbows up, and a little bit forward. Spread out through your shoulder blades. See if you can feel that sense of space in the back of your heart. Knees drawing back into the pelvis, sit bones wide. What is the yielding of your feet giving? When you yield into your feet, does your brain drop into your body a little bit more? Okay, rise up, arms to the sky. Exhale, take the block out, fold forward. Step back to dog pose. Extending through your spine again. Melt the brain. One more time. Feel the organs that you normally perceive through your eyes, your ears. See if you can let them soften. Those are probably our most dominant senses. And instead, give way to your sense of touch. Can you yield into the earth? Is your skin alive and soft? Can you melt the skin on your body to perceive? Lift the right leg up in the air, still yielding your 3 points. Find your breath. Exhale, engage your core, knee to your chest. Feel alive in your center. Inhale, bring that leg back up, yielding. Exhale, alive in your center. All your breath out. Inhale, bring that leg back. Now we're going to bring our foot forward, come into a lunge on this side again. We can take any choice of a twist here. So your hand can be on the floor, your hand can be on a block, your elbow can be on your knee, crossed over to your shoulder, your palms can be together. Your knee can be on the ground, your knee can be up off the ground. Choose something that supports you, that you can still find the deep length through the crown and the tail and the back heel. Your sit bones widen. That femur bone of the back leg lifts. Feel the breath, move the belly. Feel the core muscles, the obliques, turn the belly. Let the twist happen from an integration of your center. So yes, we need to be soft usually in our bellies to perceive, but not always. Sometimes we need to wake up our center body in order to know what that feels like, to become more aware of our intuitive sensing. Okay, unwind, rise up, reaching the arms to the sky. Exhale, place your hands down, plank pose. Hold steady for a moment, integrate your center, expand out on your inhale, condense in on your exhale. Put your knees down and find your way to the floor. Take your limbs wide like a starfish on the ground. Melt for a moment. See if you can feel, just like we try to yield with our feet when we're standing, yield whatever's touching. Feel where you're touching. Okay, and then we're going to rise everything up. Arms and legs, everything's wide. Feel a sense of space and integration and strength. Exhale. Melt back down. Turn your head one side to the other. Feel what's touching the ground. Feel your breath move in your belly. Can you feel your pelvis on the floor, your thighs on the floor? Is there a sense of being able to relax because your front body is connected to the earth? Okay, let's lift up one more time. Arms and legs, everything up, up, up. Back body strong. And on your next exhale, turn your head the opposite way and melt your body into the floor. Feel your breath. Feel your body breathing. Can you feel your back body breathing? Know that your center is not, just the front of your belly. Feel it through your center. Integrate your whole center. And place our hands down onto the ground. Come rising back up, finding the breath. Let's go ahead and lift dog pose. Extend again, yield, root in, rise up, melt face, melt eyes, jaw, tongue, ears. Let the skin perceive more than the eyes usually do. What does the earth feel like under your hands and feet? Rebound through your bones. Lift the left leg up in the air. Feel your glutes turn on. Exhale, knee to nose, core turns on. Inhale, bring it back. Exhale, core turns on. Turn this condensement into strength. One more time. This time we bring our leg forward and come to a lunge. Rise up, take your time. Bringing the arms where you want them to be to begin. We're coming into our twist. So maybe you're coming back down with your hand on the ground or on the block. Maybe you're bringing your elbow to your knee. Whatever twist is right for your body. Your back knee can be down onto the floor. There's so many choices. Every day can be very different in your practice. Feel the crown and tail. Feel the heel. Get as long as you can. Get as wide as you can. Breathe into the width of your rib cage. Breathe into the width of your pelvis. The sit bones brought in. That back thigh lifts. Feel the core do the turning. The twist comes from the breath and the strength in your muscles. And then unwind that twist. Come rising back up. Walk your back foot forward when you're ready. Okay. Finding Tadasana. Close your eyes if you want. Open your eyes if you want. What gives you, if when you're in your open eye state, if your brain starts to take over instead of your belly, maybe close your eyes to get a better sense of the wisdom of your inner body. Okay, so choose what's working for you. Are your eyes working for your belly wisdom? Is your skin working for your belly wisdom? Can you relax your skin on your body? Let it be perceptive. Feel the soles of your feet. Feel the earth. Rebound through your bones, yielding. Soft belly. If you're always guarding, if you're always tense in your belly, what can you do to loosen? If you're always slack and leaning and ignoring the belly, what can you do to enliven, to bring breath into your belly? Root into your right foot. We're going to lift. You can always do this with your butt against a wall if you need it. Okay, so that's where you go if you need balance support. Lift your left leg up, cross. Squeeze your thighs. Okay, find your eagle arms now. So because our left leg is on top, we're taking our right arm over our left arm. Drop the shoulders, lift the chest. Feel the elbows move away from you just a little bit as they lift. The collarbones broaden, the shoulder blades drop, the femur bones move back, the sit bones widen. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Okay, so squeeze to the middle. Open up your feet, spread them out. Open up your hands, spread them out. Find your breath. Because we're squeezing the top ribs, feel the bottom ribs flare. And then unwind, starfish open. Feel that rush through your blood, lymph. And then relax and come back to center, Tadasana. Okay, if you need support, stick your butt against something instead of holding on so you can have the arms and the legs. Root into your left foot. Lift up your right leg, cross it over. Try not to let your hips turn or do wonky things. Don't worry about hooking your foot all the way around to the inner calf. Often that just makes us turn our pelvis and tweak our knee. So let your legs land where they want to land. Squeeze. Draw the knees back like chair pose. Find your core strength that breathes. Reach your arms up. Take the left arm on top of right. Squat down. If you need support, lean against something so that with your back side so that you have that ability to still move your arms. Squeeze. Broaden the collarbones. Squeeze the upper chest. Broaden the bottom ribs. Feel the length of your spine. Feel your yielding foot. Find your breath. Squeeze armpits, squeeze elbows, squeeze inner thighs. And then unwind the posture. Spread your limbs out. Open your breath. Okay, relax your arms. Take a deep breath, fold in half. Relax the spine. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt back down. Okay, step your left foot back. The right foot comes forward, a lunge again. All right, so let's take our it's a little backwards feeling, but it won't be for long. With our right leg forward, let's take our right arm on top of our left, eagle arms. Squeeze again, open the chest, lift your elbows, a little bit of a back bend without compressing into the lumbar spine. Widen sit bones, and then lean forward a little bit, hop onto that right foot. Now your Virabhadrasana 3 with eagle arms can be very upright. It does not have to be coming down toward a right angle. It can very much be, but it also can be quite upright. Square the hips, stretch that leg no matter what you're doing in the pose. Integrate the ribs, squeeze, breathe, and then stand up, lift the knee, cross over, eagle pose. Squeeze, 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 open the chest. And then unwind again, step back. Where's your peripheral vision? Rise up, unwind your arms, expand your chest. Breathe. Exhale, hands down onto the ground, dog pose. When you find the symmetry, yield, melt and expand, melt and expand. All right, let's go ahead and come to a lunge, left foot forward, rise up. Okay, focus your attention. You know where you're going. Your body knows where you're going now. Your mind knows where you're going. Integrate those resources. Take your left arm over your right arm. Hug in. Lift your chest. Find your breath. Maybe look up. Maybe lean back. Don't compress the lumbar spine. So feel your feet grounding. Open up through your spine. And then as you're ready, tip forward. Rise up into a Virabhadrasana 3 with your arms bound. Squeeze in, chest broad, collarbones broad. Stretch crown and foot in the air. Are you yielding with that foot on the ground? Don't worry about how deep you go. Go where your body says you are able to, to stay. Okay. And then slowly rise up. It's okay if you fall apart. Lift your thigh over your thigh, give a good squeeze, let your peripheral vision take over. Take a deep breath, sit bones wide, chest big and open. Unwind, lift that knee back, coming out the way you went in. Crescent lunge, lift the arms, unwind the arms, spread out your wings, enjoy the space. Breathe into the open heart. And then walk your hands forward, back foot comes forward. Uttanasana, fold, relax. Bobble your head around. Halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Turn sideways on your mat. Take your legs wide apart. Okay, all this compression. Let's open things up now. Feel when your legs are really wide like this, how much room your pelvis has. Can you relax your belly? And your hands can be on blocks if the floor is too low. Can you relax into the width of your pelvis? Sometimes having the feeling of compression helps us really feel the expansion. Okay, let's go ahead and softly move into the right knee. So bending. And your body may not go deep like this, and that's okay. Just go where you go. Stretch the inner thigh. Open up your chest. Stretch crown and tail. How's your breath here? Where are you yielding? Can you feel your hands? Can you feel your ankle, your heel, your toes? And then we're going to come on up and find our way all the way over to the other side. Don't worry about how deep you go. So if your knee or hip flexion doesn't allow for this amount of depth, just go where you are. Extend the spine. If you are low, make sure this straight leg is not hyperextended at the knee. It's easy to do when your leg's just hanging in space. So feel the roots of the femur bone moving into the hip joint, sit bones wide, crown long. How's your breathing? And then let's come back up, wide legs. Bring your feet in just a little bit. Coming into a squat as wide as your body can support. Okay, so your elbows can be on the inside of the knees to open up the inner thighs a little bit more. Feel the 4 points of your feet broaden and stretch. Extend your crown and tail. Does it feel good to be in your body? If you're if you struggle with kind of hiding from yourself, if you disassociate when you're anxious or angry or sad or whatever emotional states that move through you that are difficult, how do you stay in the presence of your belly through it, letting it move? Does it feel good to be in your body? All right, let's stand up one more time. Starfishing open. If you're dizzy, just bring yourself back to the midline. Open yourself up. All right, now release. We're going to come down onto the floor. So however you get down onto the floor, whatever feels really good for you. We're going to come down onto our back. Lie down once again like we began. Okay. Finding your breathing. Feet are bent, hip width apart. Just take a moment to feel into your center. Let your spine start to rest down onto the ground. All that eagle stuff, we tend to get a little wonky when our legs are doing different things. So let's find some symmetry with a bridge pose. Root your feet, rise up onto your shoulders. Feel the big toe mounds, the pinky toe mounds, the inner and outer heels. Open up your belly and your chest. Let your exhale fall all the way down. Let your belly fall all the way down when you're with your breath out. Let your belly rise all the way up with your breath in. All right, let's go ahead and relax, melt a bit. Okay, let's roll right over onto our right side. Right angles, you can always put a block underneath your head if you need it. We're going to do a twist like this. So everything at right angles, arms, palms facing or on top of each other, and then open your body like a book. I don't like having a block under my head, but some people do. So you choose your support that you need. Deep breath, feel your body twist. Open things up. Open across your chest. We did a lot of chest compression. Feel what it feels like to open now. And then release your hands back. Bring your knees up. Roll over onto the other side. Everything's at right angles. And when you're ready, open up your hands. Stretch open your chest. Breathe into space. And then close that pose up. Come back onto your back. Find your breath. One more time for a bridge pose, but this time try to focus on opening up across the collarbones, which, when our arms were forward in eagle pose a lot, we tend to, get a little bounce. So let's open the front edges of the shoulders, rock onto the tops of the shoulders, take your arms down at your sides, take a deep breath. This is still quite compressive to the lymph vessels right at the top of your collarbones, but we'll open the fronts of the arm bones. Belly breaths. Ground your feet. Yield. Back of the neck is soft. All right, let's melt back down onto the ground. Cactus your arms open. See if the backs of your hands can rest on the floor. Have a breath there. Just let your chest broaden and open. And then we're going to come back to that starfish feeling of our limbs wide away from our midline. Sense into the body breathing. Can you trust your belly and what it's telling you? How about your pelvis? Can you trust that too? Do you spend time feeling your belly? Or are you all in the head, right? So, how do you make a little time in your practice, in your daily rhythm, to listen to the sensations of your belly? When you're nervous, what does your belly do? When you are angry, what does your belly do? When you're sad, what does your belly do? When you're anxious, what does your belly do? Find all these states of what the sensations are. Okay, bring your knees into your chest, roll over onto your side, and come up to sit. Grab some props. We're going to set up for Supta Baddha Konasana. So if you have the ability to really, pull out all the stops, pull out all the stops. If you have a bolster, use it. Whatever you got. Just try to make this as luxurious and supportive of a Supta Baddha Konasana as you can. I'm going to take one block on middle height, one block on low height, very close to each other, and then I'm going to put a bolster on top of there. I'm going to grab my couch pillows to put underneath my arms, and I'm going to grab my yoga blankets to put underneath my knees. So whatever kind of support you have to have a very supportive Supta Baddha Konasana. So your back's going to rest on your props, support underneath your thighs, your knees, your ankles, whatever feels good. And because I'm on such a ramp, I want my arms supported too. So I got my couch pillows down and I'm putting my forearms on my couch pillows. So see if you can gather up whatever props you need to make your Supta, and sometimes you need an extra blanket under your head as well. Make your Supta Baddha Konasana as supportive as it can be. Forget about, I gotta stretch, I gotta open, I gotta be free. I want you to build a comfort nest so that your body feels extremely at ease. When we are at ease, we have more perceptive capacity to listen, right? So what does it feel like to skillfully bring your body into a state where your limbs are supported, therefore your nervous system can relax, where your belly, your pelvis, your chest, and your throat, all of our vulnerable places, are open and free and supported. This is a very good posture to teach trust in the body. Whatever wounding you've experienced that guards you, these are our vulnerable places, right? We have our soft belly with no bones. We have our open throats, our open heart, our open pelvis. These are places where we often shut down, guarded. And the more we can open, the more perceptive we can become in our belly intelligence, our pelvic intelligence, our heart intelligence. Even our throat gives us feedback. How many times have you had a tight throat when you're upset? Rest into the breath. Rest the limbs. Feel yourself open. I'm going to read this list one more time. The brain in the belly is the realm of conscious being. Feels the world intimately. Is oriented to being instead of doing. The brain in your belly thinks in sensations. The brain in your belly attunes to relationships. It is devoted to integration. Lives in companionship. Attunes to life, rests in harmony, feels organic flow. Has an affinity for the earth. Can you feel that yielding? Is attentive to all that's in the background. The brain in your belly rests in the present. At any moment, you can transition to Shavasana. You can also, especially if you feel really supported, you can stay here for as long as you want. Whatever your body choice is of position, stay in the yielding, stay in the breathing, stay in the vulnerability, the wisdom, the trust of the belly brain. As you are ready, you can find movement. See if you can initiate your movement by your breath, by your belly, coming from that deep center in your initiation. If you're still in Supta Baddha Konasana, Maybe try holding the outer knees with your hands to draw them back together, knees together. Taking your time to rock a little bit, move a little bit, however you are best supported. Eventually, finding your way onto your side. Take your time. Breathe on your side for a moment. As you place your hands together at your heart or at your third eye or on your knees, wherever you are, can you take a deep breath and feel your body, the grounding, the space? Feel your belly relax and offer this deep intuition outward. So share your belly thoughts, not just your brain thoughts of love, compassion, acceptance for another. Send your energy. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a wonderful day.